February 6th. It's a new day, everyone. I'm Ria Tanwatco Trillo.
There's four of us this morning. Good morning, I'm Andre Felix, and we keep you company until 7:30.
That's right. Hello and welcome. I'm Christine Jacobs-Sandejas.
And glad you could join us. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez.
Hello, sir.
Good
How's
morning.
married life?
Well, it's actually pretty good. Thank you.
I can see that wedding ring.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
I see the happy and peaceful aura that you bring to us today.
It's a great outlook. It's a new Doc Freddy, I guess.
I guess so.
All right, today is Wednesday. A lot of stories this morning.
Certainly, yesterday we reported there were at least 3 blasts in Lanao del Norte. And of course, the big question is who is actually behind these? These happened, right on the eve of the second plebiscite. That voting is going to happen today. So we are going to look into this and talk to our correspondents down there, find out exactly what is going on.
Here are the morning's headlines.
3 explosions rock Lanao del Norte on the eve of the second Bangsamoro plebiscite.
Another historic vote happening today in Mindanao. This time, voters will decide whether 6 towns in Lanao del Norte and 7 towns in North Cotabato will join the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Polling precincts are scheduled to open at 7 a.m. and the Commission on Elections expects around 640,000 residents to cast their ballots. But amid preparations for the plebiscite, authorities are also looking into explosions in the towns of Lala, Kauswagan, and Sultan Naga Dimaporo in Lanao del Norte. The blasts happened on the eve of the vote, but officials say no one was hurt. Authorities have yet to identify the group behind the explosions. Lanao del Norte Governor Imelda Anguing Dimaporo tells CNN Philippines she's convinced the MILF was behind the bombings. Dimaporo is against the inclusion of 6 towns in her province in the Bangsamoro region and has been campaigning for a no vote.
It's just parang pangtakot lang talaga, so the people will not go out because they know that in those municipalities, no will win.
So when you say sila or they, who are you referring to?
The MILF.
MILF under?
Under Commander Bravo.
Meron kaming a portion of George Cahilas's report where he used the what we call the soundbite, a portion of this the statement of Commander Bravo, and he said, and I quote and repeat, "Huwag nyo kaming bigyan ng dahilan ipagpatuloy ang paghawak ng armas at magtanim ng galit sa inyo. Ayaw namin ng gulo ang pagboto nyo ng yes ay nangangalugan na gusto ninyo ng kapayapaan." What does this mean to you?
That's the problem there kasi gusto nila ng kapayapaan. Kami naman mapayapa kami dito sa Lanao del Norte. We are a peaceful province and we are progressive. So sa ganyan na pinapakita nila na video, it's intimidating, it's a threat. I'm sorry to say this. But wala kaming makita na good governance in ARMM.
We are trying to reach the Moro Islamic Liberation Front for comment. We'll give you their statement as soon as it becomes available. Now let's get the latest in Lanao del Norte. Our George Cahiles is there. George, good morning.
Well, good morning, Ria. Any moment now, residents of Lanao del Norte will make a vote. They will decide on the fate of the 6 towns that already sought inclusion in the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. We're here at the capital of Lanao del Norte, Tubod, where teachers who will serve as plebiscite committee were early to get the plebiscite paraphernalia. And yesterday, 3 explosions rocked 3 towns here in Lanao del Norte. That's in Lala, Kauswagan, and Sultan Naga Dimaporo. The reports say that there's no injury nor damage to property from the blasts. And so far, investigators have yet to identify the culprits. But authorities, as well as those pushing for the yes and no votes, agree that the explosions are meant to sow fear among voters. But But the police assure the public that they are in control of the situation. That's why they encourage every voter to go out and vote. Just last night, another video of a Moro Islamic Liberation Front Commander Bravo surfaced, and he's talking to his men in Maranao language and orders them to go down near the highway this plebiscite day, Ria.
Okay, George, if Commander Bravo's men will go down from the mountains, what's the implication of that to the plebiscite?
Well, Ria, actually, it depends if the movement is authorized or not. Because what we know is that there is a mechanism between the military and the MILF that because of the ongoing ceasefire agreement, they need to inform each other about their movements to avoid misencounters. And that is through the committee or the coordinating committee on the cessation of hostilities, or CCCH. Now, if their movement is actually agreed upon by the military, the next question is, are they armed or not? Because if they are not armed, there's no reason for the people to be afraid, because if they will monitor the situation here peacefully. But of course, another thing, if they are already armed, because as far as we know, based on the statement of the military yesterday, they agreed with the MILF that those MILF members coming from the outside of Lanao del Norte will no longer push with their plan to proceed here in Lanao del Norte today. And of course, those who are already here in Lanao del Norte, they are not allowed to bring firearms, as well as they're not allowed to wear their uniforms while they are monitoring the situation here in the area. So we will find out later about if there's really an agreement between Commander Bravo and the military. Ria.
All right, let's see how the day unfolds there. George Cahiles reporting from Lanao del Norte. It's exactly 6:30. Good morning and welcome back. I'm Ria Tanwatco Trillo. Our top story, another historic vote happening today in the South. This time, voters will decide whether 6 towns in Lanao del Norte and 7 towns in North Cotabato will join the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. How is this different from the first plebiscite? Our Trisha Terada explains in this report.
The February 6 plebiscite in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato will be a lot more complicated than the referendum on January 21. Unlike the first plebiscite, where only 1 to 2 questions were asked, this time the voter will have to answer a number of questions. In Lanao del Norte, the whole province will vote except for Iligan City. Voters in municipalities of Tangkal, Tagaloan, Munay, Pantar, Nunungan, and Baloy will be asked if they want to join the new region. There is a petition for them to be part of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, or BARM. For the other municipalities of Lanao del Norte, they will be asked whether they want those 6 towns to join the Bangsamoro region. In North Cotabato, the petition for inclusion in BARM covers 67 barangays from 7 municipalities. But in their case, only voters from the 7 municipalities will cast their vote. Voters from inclusive barangays will be asked if they want to join the Bangsamoro region. Voters in other barangays in each municipality will be asked if they will allow the identified barangays to join BARM. To put it simply, a so-called double majority is needed for this referendum.
If you're from Barangay Malinaw and the yes votes wins in Malinaw, the yes vote has to win in the entire municipality as well in order for Malinaw to join the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. If you're a resident of Malinaw and Malinaw votes no, but the rest of the municipality votes yes, then there will be no inclusion because Malinaw itself doesn't want to join.
COMELEC is expecting about a 70% voter turnout for the February 6 plebiscite.
It's less of an emotional issue and more of a practical issue. For the people on the ground, the question is, will it be better for us if we are part of this new entity, or if we just remain where we are?
Meanwhile, COMELEC is allaying fears of voters amid threats of the groups of those for and against the new Bangsamoro region.
According to the PNP, there is no increase in the number of hotspots in that area. So clearly, they are not expecting any great disruptions during the elections on February 6th.
Similar to the first plebiscite, only yes and no answers and their equivalent in the local language will be counted. Voting is from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Canvassing begins right after the election. Canvassed votes will then be forwarded to the COMELEC headquarters in Manila, where the National Plebiscite Board of Canvassers will reconvene. COMELEC estimates results will be out after 4 days. Trisha Darada, CNN Philippines.
You're back with us on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanuatco Trillo.
Good morning again. I'm Andre Felix.
And this is New Day on CNN Philippines, where the news comes first. I'm Christine Jacobs-Sendejas.
And I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Speaking of news, we still have a lot in store for our viewers in the next half hour.
That's right, we certainly do. Of course, today, February 6th, is the sort of second phase of the plebiscite for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. We are going to get updates from there, let you know what's going on. The polls don't open till about 7. That's now.
That's right. You're watching New Day here on CNN Philippines. Good morning.
Another historic vote happening today in Mindanao. This time, voters will decide whether 6 towns in Lanao del Norte and 7 towns in North Cotabato will join the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Polling precincts are scheduled to open at 7 a.m., and the Commission on Elections expects around 640,000 residents to cast their ballots. But amid preparations for the plebiscite, authorities are also looking into explosions in the towns of Lalacao, Suagan, and Sultan Naga de Maporo in Lanao del Norte. The blasts happened on the eve of the vote, but officials say no one was hurt. Authorities have yet to identify the group behind the explosions. Lanao del Norte Governor Imelda Anguing de Maporo tells CNN Philippines she's convinced the MILF was behind the bombings. But de Maporo is against the inclusion of 6 towns in her province in the Bangsamoro region and has been campaigning for a no vote. And we now talk to Moro Islamic Liberation Front Chairman Al-Haj Murad Ibrahim, and he joins us via Skype. Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking our call.
Good morning, Ria. Good morning sa mga...
Sir, there are strong accusations from Governor de Maporo, and she suspects that the MILF is behind some of the blasts in Lanao del Norte yesterday. What is your reaction to that, Chairman Murad?
Alam mo, nakakalungkot, Ria, na outright in-accuse doon sa bombing. Dahil kung titignan mo, wala kaming, there will be no bin MILF kung may mga disturbances sa area where the plebiscite will be conducted. So, hindi practical na, hindi katanggap-tanggap na ibibintang sa amin kagad without any proof na, kasi we have been campaigning very hard na walang magdidisturbo sa plebisito dahil alam namin na kailangan bumoto yung mga tao. Now, if there are disturbances na mga ganon, that will discourage voters to go into the voting places. So, ang magiging biktima nito ay yung plebisito. So, kaya we are denying very yung na merong involvement ng MILF forces.
That being the case, sir, sa tingin niyo po, who do you think is behind these explosions at ano yung motibo nila?
Alam mo, kung titingnan natin, posible ito na it is a sabotage against the plebiscite. And ang mga siguro, yung mga very close na magsasabotage ay yung mga taong hindi nakakaayon, hindi umaayon sa plebisito. Sa panig namin, wala kaming iniapil, kundi pabutuhin lang ng yung mga tao, i-encourage sila magboto, huwag i-intimidate, and then huwag i-manipulate ang resulta ng plebisito. And then magiging talagang katanggap-tanggap kung ito'y walang mga manipulation, walang intimidation.
Sir, sa panig naman ni Governor Dimaporo, she says or she's certain that the 6 Lanao del Norte municipalities will vote no today because predominantly Christian daw po yung mga lugar na ito. And what is your reaction to this?
Hindi totoo yan because last plebiscite pa nga, 2001, bumoto na yung 6 na municipality to be included in the ARMM. So, very popular. Actually, ang nangyari lang na naging problema lang dito dahil yung sinasabi nila na double majority yung process. So, ibig sabihin, bobotohan ng municipality, 6 na municipality, at the same time, yung entire province ng Lanao del Norte will give their consent. So, yun ang problema, yung consent, dahil yung mga local politician dyan, yun ang umuopos dahil ayaw nilang mahiwalay ang 6 municipalities because they feel that pag nawala yung 6 municipalities ay hindi na sila mananalo sa Lanao del Norte. So yan ang nagiging complication.
I see, sir. Now, according po dun sa nag-viral na video, Commander Bravo is saying if people want peace, then they should vote yes to the inclusion. The governor sees this as a way of intimidating the people there. What's your reaction to that?
Well, that is maybe a personal analysis ni Commander Bravo. Hindi naman yun ang policy ng MLF, but it can be his personal analysis situation na kung yung mga tao, pagka hindi binigyan ng pagkakataon ng malayang makaboto, mayroong mga intimidation. Kasi mayroon kaming mga reported na winawarningan yung mga tao na pag pumunto sila ng yes, aalisin sila dyan sa area nila. So, yun ang hindi maganda doon kung mayroon mga intimidation dahil maaaring yung mga tao will resort to some hindi maganda kung ang tingin nila ay hindi sila yung resulta ay hindi katanggap-tanggap.
Chairman, there's another video of Commander Bravo speaking in Maranao and seemingly he's ordering his men to go to the towns along the highway, pero not to harm but rather to protect civilians and just be ready in case may manggulo. What does this mean, and is there already an agreement between him and the government about his men going down?
Now, ang instruction namin dyan sa kina Commander Bravo at sa kayong mga person namin dyan, whatever na whatever plan na gusto nilang implement, they should coordinate with the authorities. Kung papayagan ng authorities ay siguro hindi sila papayagan ng authorities. So, maaaring gaya ng mga nangyari sa mga ibang area na they can deploy but walang armas, yung civilian lang na civilian na mga tao. But that will still be coordinated to the authorities.
Okay, so at this point, sir, as far as you know, wala pang coordination?
Hindi pa ako na-inform na may coordination, but we have our people there coordinating with the security officers in the area.
Yes, sir. Governor Dimaporo also says she doesn't see good governance in the ARMM. Again, what is your reaction to this?
Well, sa lahat naman ng mga area ay meron mga good governance pero meron din hindi But hindi namin sinasabi na yung ARMM is but it remains to be seen kasi sa mga local government then meron mga area na hindi naman maganda ang pag-governance sa mga local government. But anyway, hindi yun ang importante ngayon because that is the responsibility of the leadership as far as amin kung kami na ang nasa government kung paano ensure na talagang merong good governance because that is also our struggle na talagang magpunan ng good governance because unless na merong good governance ay hindi natin mai-ensure yung development ng area.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, MILF Chairman Al-Haj Murad Ibrahim.
Thank you.
Now, let's go to North Cotabato. Our Trisha Terada joins us live from there. Trisha, what is the latest from where you are?
Well, Rhea, as of this time, voting is now officially open, at least here at the Piquet Center Elementary School. This is the polling center of Barangay Poblacion, the biggest barangay here in Piquet Town in North Cotabato. So far, everything's going well for the whole town of Piquet. And the distribution of election paraphernalia went well this morning. And just like in the first plebiscite, security forces were also assigned to escort the plebiscite committees on their way to the respective schools or polling centers. Security in the perimeter is very tight. On our way here to Kidapawan, we've passed through several military and police checkpoints. For one, North Cotabato is also under martial law. And at the same time, the PNP chief already said yesterday that there's extra security in place for the conduct of the plebiscite, and it's also keeping an eye on Midsayap and Piquet towns. Now, even before voting officially opened at 7 a.m., there were already several residents starting to arrive here at the polling center and looking for their names and precincts. Rhea?
All right, thank you very much, Trisha. Trisha Terada there reporting live from North Cotabato.
And that's it for us this Wednesday. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Christine Jacobson-Dejas.
New Day is back tomorrow at 6 on the dot. I'm Andre Felix.
See you again next time. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez.
And I'm Rhea Tanwanco Trillo. Enjoy your morning. Have a great day.
Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program.
It's all systems go for the second Bangsamoro plebiscite.
There's no increase in the number of hotspots. Clearly, they are not expecting any great disruptions.
This amid security concerns in the region.
It's just parang pangtakot lang talaga, so the people will not go out because they know that in those municipalities, no will win.
Also, the Commission on Elections wants to monitor social media campaigns ahead of the 2019 midterm polls.
Medyo mahihirapan talaga kami dito. Challenging yan. Certainly, this has never been done before.
And what are the consequences of premature campaigning? COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez joins us live.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. The second Bangsamoro plebiscite pushes through amid security concerns in the region following the Holosulu blast and in other areas in Mindanao. The COMELEC says the government is ready to secure the polls. It is also hopeful to repeat the success of the first plebiscite. Also, from biography TV features to social media posts, we get to know the COMELEC rules on premature campaigning. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez. Director, welcome to the show. I know you've been very, very busy. So much on your plate right now.
Well, we do have the plebiscite right now, and the national elections coming up in May. So yeah, there's a lot of work.
The plebiscite, it's voting is supposed to start from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Right.
What's your update so far?
As of 8:30, 100% of the polling precincts have opened in Lanao and North Cotabato, which already makes it better than the one in January, because in January we had precincts that opened as late as 11 a.m. So as of 8:30, we have 100% functioning precincts, and it bodes well for the rest of the day.
Even if there were, some sort of a threat, sir, 3 IEDs are blasts in Lanao del Norte.
That's actually what makes it very remarkable, is that despite news yesterday that teachers were being threatened not to participate, everyone showed up. and people are showing up in the polling precincts. Early in the day, the earliest voters were women and senior citizens even. So the excitement is palpable, and maybe the tension while it's there is not dampening their enthusiasm.
You know, we're so, well, in Manila, we're so detached from what is actually happening there. When we look at the big picture, look at Lanao del Norte, there's so many areas there because sa Lanao del Norte, there are seven,
yes.
Oh, 6 towns. 6 towns in Lanao del Norte. Marami po yung towns talagang napakalayo.
Yes.
Na they use even trucks to transport the teachers and the paraphernalia.
Right. Earlier this morning, starting at around 3:30 a.m., distribution of paraphernalia was undertaken in Tubod, no? And in order for the teachers to feel safe going to wherever they were going to serve in the precincts, they were actually accompanied by PNP escorts. So at least that level of cooperation we're seeing now with the PNP is very good, and it is contributing a lot to the feeling of security that the teachers are enjoying.
When you talk about teachers, let's go back to the first plebiscite, January 21,
Sure.
Was it? There was a problem in one of the areas.
Yes.
The teachers did not show up
Yes.
because of fear for their lives, and you're saying this didn't happen this time around.
Despite the presence of threats, reported threats, no, it didn't happen. We were able to open on time.
7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Will there be any adjustments or flexibility in terms of possibly
Right now,
extending?
we're not looking at any need for that. So we expect to finish by 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock officially, but of course, if people are there at 3 o'clock, then we will continue with the elections until they're done. So
The usual until they're in line, no?
yeah, if they're in line, they're going to be accommodated. So we're going to look at an actual end of voting probably around 4 o'clock.
And possibly results in a couple of days.
In 4 days.
Faster than the first one.
Probably going to be faster, yes.
Was there any adjustment that needed to be done this time around compared to the first plebiscite?
Primarily, we had to make sure that all of our alternates were all prepped, because that was the main source of the problem in Cotabato City, where there was a sort of discrepancy in the statistics being reported.
Yeah.
And the reason for the discrepancy was that the person preparing the report wasn't actually very well trained, because he was a pinch hitter, someone who came in at the last moment because some teacher had failed to show up for work. So we had to adjust our training regimen to make sure that everyone, even the understudies, were like totally prepared. Thankfully, we haven't had to dip into that reserve.
Really?
This time, yeah.
You haven't dipped into the pinch hitters?
No.
That's very good to hear.
Yes.
Okay, we want to kind of understand what is going to happen. We have a sample ballot from Director James Jimenez, and maybe just also to show it to the public. Is this second plebiscite a little bit more complicated than the first one?
Well, I wouldn't know. It's a little more complicated in the sense that when you're canvassing separately for each of the towns or barangays within a particular jurisdiction. For instance, the sample ballot that you're holding, this is, I think, for Midsayap.
Midsayap, North Cotabato.
Yeah, and there are 13 barangays in Midsayap.
Okay.
So the 13 barangays, all of them are petitioned to join the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. So
barangay lang yan, okay.
Oo, barangay lang yan. So, if, for instance, you're from barangay, what is that? Damatulan.
Damatulan, the first one.
Okay. If you're from Barangay Damatulan and you're voting in that section, you're voting as a member of that barangay. So the question for you is, do you want your barangay to join the Bangsamoro?
To vote for the approval, write the word yes or oo.
Yes.
In the blank after the
Oo.
question. To vote for its rejection, write the word no or hindi. In the
or
blank.
the equivalent in the local dialect. What you can't do is you can't check or make an X mark or whatever. You can't make any symbol there or any sign. No matter how clear it makes your intention, it has to be a yes or a no. The actual word, yes or no. So again, the complication stems from the fact that you are canvassing it, basically from 2 points of view. Both from the point of view of a member of the unit
Barangay.
wanting to join,
Damatulan, for example.
Matulan,
Okay.
and the mother unit, Midsayap. Midsayap has to be asked as well. So when you're voting for the other barangays, when you're in fact from Matulan, you are voting as a member of the mother unit, but not as a member of your barangay.
Okay, let's show that again up on the screen. So it's because I'm also a little bit confused
it
with
can be
this one.
confusing.
So if
Yeah.
we show that on screen, yung number 1, we
Yeah.
can pause there. That number 1 says, payag ba kayo na isamang barangay Damatulan, Midsayap, Damatulan, Midsayap, Hilagang, Cotabato sa rehiyong otonomo ng Bangsamoro? Pag ang isagot po nila is
Yes.
where do they go after that?
They have to reply to all of the other questions.
Hanggang number 13.
Hanggang
2, 3,
number
4.
13. All 13 blocks you have to reply to.
But even if you're not a
Even if you're
resident
not.
of that barangay.
Yes. Dito papasok yung sinasabi nating dalawang concepts. Both as a resident of the unit that wants to join and a resident of the mother unit of that barangay.
Which is Midsayap.
Which is Midsayap.
Got it. Okay. And in Midsayap, there are 13 barangays.
Right.
Is it possible that you answer yes to one and then
No to others?
no to others?
Absolutely.
Pwede rin yun.
Absolutely.
And then, Director, ang mangyayari ho dito, kailangan
Well,
ang sagot, pagbilangan.
the shortcut that we say is that you need a double majority.
Correct.
You need to have a majority of the votes in the unit that's wanting to join, the barangay, and from the mother unit, allowing that barangay to join. So if it's a yes and a yes, then you're in. If it's a yes and a no, or a no and a yes, then it doesn't happen.
Okay, Cotabato. Now, let's look at North Cotabato, the towns participating in the in today's plebiscite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Ito nga yun,
Yes.
yung sinasabi ni Director James na the one we showed is just Midsayap. Meron pa nung Aliusan, Carmen, Cabacan, Pikit, Picawayan.
But I think for North Cotabato, Midsayap is the longest ballot, 13.
Ganun ba? Siya yung may pinakamaraming
Siya may
barangay, ibig
pinakamarami.
sabihin.
No, I'm sorry, Pikit pala. Pikit ang
North
pinakamarami. Kasi sa Pikit, I think they have 23.
Mas mahaba nga yun. Definitely.
In fact, one of the issues yesterday was that the ballots in Pikit were so large that we could only fit 150 ballots inside the boxes. So we had to improvise just to make sure that we only made one trip from the distribution center of the supplies to the polling place. But other than that, there's been no problem really. But yeah, again, that's an issue there. If you have 23 barangays on the ballot, then you can imagine how big that ballot is going to be. It's like a tabloid almost.
Oo nga, ano. Director, paano ho kunwari ang sagot nga is yes sa isang barangay? Kunwari po, ang sagot, let's say, out of the 13 barangays, sumagot siya ng yes. 1 to 6, for example, tapos no, 7 to 13. Does that make the vote a little strange? Obviously, right?
Well, maybe and maybe not. See, the thing is, when you're voting, if you're voting for the inclusion of a barangay that is not your own,
Correct.
you could be saying that, you know what, this barangay, this other barangay might be better off if it stays with the mother unit. Or maybe you're saying the mother unit can't live without that barangay. So it is possible. It is possible. Individual preferences, of course, have to be taken into account. But in general, people normally just, you know.
Yeah, if it's a yes,
If it's a yes for
it's going
everything,
to be
it's a
yes
yes
all
for
the way.
everyone. Yeah.
And if it's a no, it's going to be a no all the way.
Also.
Because I guess I asked that question, directors, because why would I say I would like to join in where I am as a resident of a barangay, and in another barangay I will say no when I'm not actually a resident there.
Baka ayaw mo yung barangay na yun. You don't want to be neighbors with them or something. I don't know.
Gusto mo siyang i-out.
Gusto mo siyang i-out. That's possible. That's certainly possible. But again, for the voters there, the question really is, will we be better off if we're with Bangsamoro? Diba?
Gusto ba natin sumali doon?
Exactly. And that's also the decision you're wanting to make for the other barangays, for your neighboring barangays.
So, kailangan yes ang barangay mo at kailangan majority din yung, let's say, 13 barangays in
dapat yes din sila lahat.
Oo, para masama yung Midsayap doon sa BARM para pumasok siya.
Yes.
In other words. Okay, and that was just an example in North Cotabato, and of course there are also 6 towns in Lanao del Norte. So Are there any more causes for concern, sir, in today's plebiscite?
Well, the biggest cause for concern really is that coming into the elections is that there would be a spillover of the violence from other places. And late yesterday afternoon, it seemed that these concerns were coming true. Right? There was a bombing in Lanao. But so far, none of those fears have actually translated into actual disruption at the polling places. But we're continuing to be watchful about how things develop. Again, it's very early in the day, so we don't know what will happen around midday.
Just as a last question on this topic, sir, members of the MILF and those opposing, are they allowed within the area of the voting centers?
Well, so far they have been allowed. That's why there's an augmentation of the police presence in voting centers. We're learning from our experience in Cotabato, where, again, the presence of these gentlemen might be innocuous. Well, ladies and gentlemen, actually, I should say, might be innocuous, but their sheer number exerts a kind of intimidating influence on people who are differently minded. So we're watching out for that. Again, making sure that these are non-combatants. They're not there in the capacity as soldiers of whatever cause they're fighting for, simply to promote the vote, whether for or against it. But that's certainly an area that bears close watching.
We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, the Commission on Elections says do not vote for so-called epal politicos. What are the consequences of premature campaigning? This we really need to talk about. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez will still be with us after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez. We are going to talk about the midterm elections that is in May. Just to differentiate, Director, the election season and the campaign season.
Yes.
Tell us more about that. Okay.
The election season is when all of the bans start taking effect, right? So you have your gun ban, you have your ban on movement of personnel, etc. But this is not the campaign season. The election season simply is the preparatory stage for the elections themselves. The campaign season starts later than the election season starts. So before the campaign season starts, even if you are already within the election period, premature campaigning is still not prohibited. Premature campaigning, obviously, by definition, it's campaigning that happens before the start of the campaign period. We all remember a time when premature campaigning was punishable by law, but it no longer is. That's the problem. And because it no longer is, then it becomes a source of disgruntlement from everyone. And most of that disgruntlement is aimed at us, at COMELEC.
Director, why is it not a violation anymore?
It's not a violation anymore because Republic Act 9369 basically says that when you file your certificate of candidacy, you're only doing so for the purpose of getting on the ballot.
Okay.
And that you are not officially a candidate until the campaign period starts.
Which is, let's start, so it's more specific, February 12 for
February
national.
12.
Diyan muna tayo. Ibig sabihin, Mr. A filed his certificate of candidacy in October. And from October until before Feb 12, he can do
anything.
Absolutely anything.
Yes, he is, for all intents and purposes, a private citizen that will run for office. But that's all. You know he's going to run for office, but there's also
He's
the possibility
a private citizen.
that he won't actually. Like on the day of the campaign, he says, well, I'm out.
Withdraw.
Look at what happened to the former spokesperson, Harry Roque. When the final certified list of candidates came out, the first thing he did was to pull out, right? And the same thing can happen theoretically, even the day before the campaign period. So, to some extent, there is some wisdom in that provision of law, except that the unintended consequences is that it created a loophole. And the loophole is that premature campaigning is now technically not punishable by law.
It's not a violation.
It's not a violation.
Siya bawal.
Oo, hindi siya bawal.
Let's bring up...
Kadiri siya, pero hindi siya bawal.
Sa'yo na galing. So, ibig sabihin, Director, pwedeng maglabas ng posters, pwedeng
Yes.
maglabas ng TV ads,
Yes.
radio ads.
Yes.
Pwedeng kahit ano on social
Pwede maglabas
media.
ng pelikula ng buhay mo.
Katulad ni, let's name him, General Bato,
Yes.
di ba?
And he's not the only one. I mean, like some made-for-TV productions are
Correct.
delving into the life stories of particular candidates. Again, since this is all coming out before Feb 12, there's really nothing anyone can do about it.
Director, ang ibig sabihin nun, kapag nangyari yon, kasi sinabi mo, like, lalabas sa television, I know that is a former SAP Bongo. There's nothing wrong in naming them because that's what we know. Ibig sabihin ba nun, may advantage lang sila, pero wala silang pagkakamali.
Wala silang pagkakamali, pero meron silang advantage, and certainly with TV being as pervasive as it is, as influential a medium as it is, a lot of people are concerned that having this means of reaching out to the public available to some and not to others,
Yes.
it unbalances the playing field.
That's where I wanted to go, because
Yeah.
it becomes very unfair, especially for those who may not have the money, may not
Absolutely.
have the connection.
Look, right now we have 63 candidates. And
For senator, sir.
For senator, more than half of those are names that you've never heard of before. They're new entrants into the political game. All of them are principled men and women,
Yeah.
but they don't all have the same level of access to these resources. So if they're not making themselves felt now, if they're not generating awareness about themselves now, while in the meantime their opponents who are well connected are generating tons and tons of recall, then you can see how in the end the elections will not be entirely fair. So that's the problem with premature campaigning. That is the main issue that we have with premature campaigning, is that it skews the playing field in favor of those with access,
Yeah,
in favor of those with connections.
Basically, sir, you're saying, it's unfair.
It is very unfair.
Okay.
And in
But
fact, we're
that's
working.
not your fault.
Not our
That's not
fault,
the COMELEC's fault.
Except that when it comes to managing public expectation, people forget that.
Kasi we're gonna run to the COMELEC and say, COMELEC, bakit may ganito to?
Exactly.
Bakit pinayagan si ganon? Sa
Exactly.
inyo din talaga pupunta
Sa amin
to.
bumabalik. But just to reassure everyone, there is a pending bill that will correct that, that
Okay.
will close the loophole.
Let's find out who's the author of this.
Senator Dick Gordon.
Okay.
He filed an amendment to Republic Act 9369, which he authored also, saying basically that a person who files a certificate of candidacy will be considered an official candidate at that time.
Let's say in October, once he files, ano na siya,
So
official.
if he's an official candidate in October, that means from October to whatever the campaign
Feb
period
12,
is,
like this one.
hindi siya pwedeng mangampanya.
Oo, kasi premature campaigning
Kasi premature
ngayon.
campaigning
Kasi
ngayon.
ngayon, hindi pa sila official
Exactly.
candidate. Got it. Okay. So moving on Feb 12, that starts the minutes per candidate. Can you
Yes.
tell us more about that? Okay.
Under the law, you're required to stay within a sort of cap on your broadcasting minutes, no? But since the broadcasting time limits are pegged to a per station basis, it's pretty illusory at this point. Sa dami ng television stations, you're counting 120 minutes per station, you probably can't spend that much money anyway. Also, there is
So
another
120 minutes.
per TV station.
Any commercial, sir? Any guesting?
No.
Tama.
Okay. We have to nuance that. You're talking about guesting. You have news programs and you have non-news programs. No? For the news programs in general, you wouldn't call it guesting. You would interview them as a resource and all of that. If the interview is newsworthy, if their appearance there is part of the news, then yes, that's not going to be counted. But if your appearance on television is not news related, it's not newsworthy, and taken as a whole, probably, only for the purpose of endorsing you, then that is considered broadcast
Director,
advertising.
if I were to have the source interview senatorial candidates as much or as many as possible, does that fall under news?
No,
or
it
non-news?
doesn't. All you have to do is really inform the COMELEC that you've invited everyone, and that these are the ones who decided to show. Because when a news program such as yours, as excellent as it is, sends out an invitation, you're not going to get 100% response, right?
Correct.
They're not all going to want to come. So that's not your fault. What matters is that you invited everyone. You made this platform available to everyone.
Do I have to invite all 63?
Oh, 62.
I have to send
62 now.
letters.
62.
O nga pala, wala na si Sec Harry. So, okay, to be clear, according to Director James, this will not be, you will not subtract this from any of their minutes.
No.
Okay, so that's already
so come to the source.
Come to the source, because we need to get to know you better, even if they talk about their platforms and their stand on particular issues.
It's actually very important that we have outlets such as this to give this sort of, well, it's not formally an exemption, but in how the law operates, it's important because it gives the public an opportunity to listen in depth to what these candidates have to say. Remember, if you see an ad for a candidate, it's 30 seconds long, what can you get? All you can get is a slogan.
The jingle.
A slogan, a jingle, probably some good visuals, but that's not a lot of things to decide on.
Okay.
So it's good that you have programs like this.
So it's 100 just to be clear again, 120 minutes. Ibig parang lumalabas talaga to advertisement, sir, di ba?
Yes.
Yung kanilang commercial.
Ang tutok talaga ng prohibition na yan is for paid advertisements.
Okay. Tapos, meron pang radyo. Iba pa yan,
180 yan for
180. Per station also.
Per station
okay.
din yan.
Now let's go to this. This is new, social media.
Yes.
Paano yun?
In 2016, we saw how incredibly powerful social media was, and we knew that moving forward, it would only get more powerful, and that people would actually start using it more. Now, the concern there was not so much what they said on social media, but in how much money they could hide in social media. The problem with social media is that throughout the campaigns since 2010, when social media was starting to make its appearance felt, no one was actually reporting social media expenses, but we saw them becoming more and more useful, social media becoming more and more useful, and people devoting more and more resources to it, obviously, but not reporting any of it. So kailangan natin gumawa ng regulations to make sure.
What is your
that we
rule
get
on
that.
social media?
The rule now is that you have to register your social media presence so that we know where to start looking at the ads that you put out.
Give me an example, sir. You can use any.
Let's say I'm running for office.
Okay.
I will have to tell Comelec that jamesjimenez.com is my official website, and that I have social media pages, Facebook, and so on. What that does for Comelec is that it allows Comelec to look into my dashboards and to actually check my ad spend. Whenever you spend on, say, a boosted post or an advertisement on Facebook, you're going to have to do that through your dashboard as your account holder. So you do that through your dashboard, and it logs all of the minutes that you advertised as well as how much you spent.
Sorry, sir, but why will I have to tell you that I have a website? Then I just won't tell you.
Well, that's why there's a regulation. Because if you don't, then that would be an election offense, because social media is part of mass media, and Comelec is empowered to regulate mass media.
So does this mean that every candidate should register with a Comelec their what?
Their official social pages.
So lahat. So kung sabihin nila na Senator so-and-so, this is my Twitter account.
Yes.
Official pala.
This is my official Snapchat, official Instagram, official everything.
Okay. So now, on the flip side, let's say I'm a celebrity, sir, for example, and then in my social media, I keep reproducing, publishing, airing commercials of Senator James, for example.
Right.
Does that count against the candidate?
No. What that does is it alerts Comelec to look at how much money is being spent there. There is no limit in terms of for social media in terms of the frequency that you put out the ads. Not like, for instance, on television or radio, where you have the time limits. In print, where you have the publication limitations, like you can't publish more than 3 times a week, I think. But on social, in social, there's no such limitation. So you can put out as many materials as you want, except that if you boost any of these posts, if you pay for an ad that will push these posts to people who are not your followers otherwise, then that will be recorded and that will be part of your sausage.
Last question, is there a department that is looking into this specifically?
My department is.
I just said your plate is full. All right, so well, good luck, sir. I wish we had more time to talk about this. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. Director James Jimenez, and good luck today and, of course, leading up to the May 19 elections. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines. Thank you for joining us. Narito na ang balitaan sa CNN Philippines. Pagbubukas ng Bangsamoro plebiscite sa Lanao del Norte at North Cotabato, walang naging aberya ayon sa Commission on Elections. Moro Islamic Liberation Front tumangging nasa likod ng mga pagsabog sa Lanao del Norte bago ang isinasagawang plebisito doon. Magandang tanghali, ako po si Pinky Webb. Higit na 600,000 botante ang inaasahang lalahok sa ikalawang Bangsamoro plebiscite ngayong araw. Pagdedesisyonan ng mga botante kung isasama ba ang kanilang lugar sa bubuoing Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Kabilang dito ang 6 na bayan sa Lanao del Norte at 67 barangay sa 7 bayan sa North Cotabato. Opisyal na nagsimula ang botohan kaninang alas 7 ng umaga na magtatagal hanggang alas 3 ng hapon. Una nang nagsagawa ng plebisito noong January 21 kung saan bumoto ang Cotabato City, Isabela City sa Basilan at mga probinsyang kasama sa kasalukuyang Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao na naigang yes vote sa unang plebisito na nagbigay daan para maratipikahan ang Bangsamoro Organic Law na siya namang bubuo sa Bangsamoro Region. Ang Cotabato City na hindi kasali sa ARMM, bumoto rin ng yes para maisama na sa BARM, habang no naman ang nanalo sa Isabela City. Tinututukan ng CNN Philippines sa mga pinakahuling kaganapan sa ikalawang plebisito. Nasa Lanao del Norte ang aming correspondent na si George Cahiles habang binabantayan naman ni Trisha Tirada ang sitwasyon sa North Cotabato. Maayos ang naging pagbubukas ng lahat ng mga presinto sa Lanao del Norte at North Cotabato para sa ikalawang Bangsamoro plebiscite. Sa programang The Source, sinabi ni Commission on Elections spokesperson James Jimenez na sa kasalukuyan matiwasay ang nagaganap na botohan.
As of 8:30, 100% of the polling precincts have opened in Lanao and North Cotabato, which already makes it better than the one in January, because in January we had precincts that opened as late as 11 a.m.
Ito'y sa kabila ng magkakasunod na pagsabog kahapon sa probinsya ng Lanao del Norte.
Despite news yesterday that teachers were being threatened not to participate, everyone showed up, and people are showing up in the polling precincts. Early in the day, the earliest voters were women and senior citizens even. So the excitement is palpable, and maybe the tension, while it's there, is not dampening their enthusiasm.
Ipinaliwanag naman ni Jimenez kung paano bumoto at mapapasama ang isang barangay o bayan sa itatatag na Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. That number 1 says, payag ba kayo na isamang barangay Damatulan, Midsayap, Hilagang Cotabato sa rehiyong otonomo ng Bangsamoro? Pag ang isagot po nila is yes, where do they go after that?
They have to reply to all of the other questions.
Hanggang number 13.
You need a double majority.
Correct.
You need to have a majority of the votes in the unit that's wanting to join, the barangay, and from the mother unit, allowing that barangay to join. So if it's a yes and a yes, then you're in. If it's a yes and a no, or a no and a yes, then it doesn't happen.
Aminado naman si Jimenez na malaking hamon pa rin ang seguridad sa isinasagawang plebisito.
The biggest cause for concern really is that coming into the elections was that there would be a spillover of the violence from other places. And late yesterday afternoon, it seemed that these concerns were coming true. Right? There was a bombing in Lanao. But so far, none of those fears have actually translated into actual disruption at the polling places. But we're continuing to be watchful about how things develop.
Inaasahang lalabas ang resulta ng botohan matapos ang 4 na araw. Iniimbestigahan na ng mga otoridad ang mga magkakahiwalay na pagsabog sa Lanao del Norte. Halos 17 oras bago magsimula ang Bangsamoro plebiscite. 3 bayan ang ginulantang ng mga pagsabog kahapon. Una sa bayan ng Lala, pasado alas 4:30 ng hapon sa kahabaan ng highway. Nangyari naman ang ikalawang pagsabog sa likod ng munisipyo ng Kauswagan bago mag-alas 5 ng hapon. At ang ikatlong pagsabog sa MSU Municipal High School sa bayan ng Sultan Naga Dimaporo ganap na alas 10 ng gabi. Ayon sa mga otoridad, mga improvised explosive device ang ginamit na pampasabog sa Lala at Kauswagan, habang granada naman ang ginamit sa Sultan Naga Dimaporo. Walang naitalang nasaktan o napinsala sa magkakahiwalay na insidente. Sinabi ng mga opisyal, posibleng nais lang ng mga nasa likod ng pagsabog na maghasik ng takot sa mga botante. Kumbinsido si Lanao del Norte Governor Imelda Anguing Dimaporo may kinalaman ang Moro Islamic Liberation Front sa mga pagsabog. Tutol ang gobernador na isama ang 6 na bayan ng Lanao del Norte sa bubuuing Bangsamoro region. Pinangunahan din ni Dimaporo ang kampanya para sa no vote.
It's just parang pangtakot lang talaga so the people will not go out because they know that in those municipalities, no will win.
So when you say sila or they, who are you referring to?
The MILF.
MILF under?
Under Commander Bravo.
Mariin namang itinanggi ng MILF ang akusasyon ni Dimaporo. Ayon kay MILF Chairman Alhaj Murad Ibrahim, hindi katanggap-tanggap na pagbintangan sila, gayong wala namang matibay na ebidensya.
We have been campaigning very hard na walang magdidisturbo sa plebisito dahil alam namin na kailangan bumoto yung mga tao. Posible ito na it is a sabotage against the plebiscite. And ang mga siguro, yung mga very close na magsasabotage ay yung mga taong hindi nakakaayon, hindi umaayon sa plebisito.
Kamustahin natin ang sitwasyon sa Lanao del Norte kung saan 3 bomba ang sumabog kahapon. Nasa Lanao del Norte ang aming correspondent na si George Cahiles para bantayan ang pagboto ng 6 na bayan dyan. Hinggil nga sa buuing Bangsamoro region. George, kamusta ang sitwasyon dyan?
Alam mo, Pinky, dito sa bayan ng Tubod ay maagang nakolekta ng mga guro ng magsisilbing plebiscite committee yung mga kagamitan na gagamitin ngayon sa botohan. Kaya on time yung pagbubukas nila ng mga presinto, alas 7 ng umaga ay nakapagbukas na sila ng kanilang mga presinto. Kung kaya sa ngayon, sa pagtatanong-tanong natin dito sa mga presinto dito ay mahigit 50% na nga daw ng mga registered voters ang nakaboto na. At inaasahan nila na mamayang hapon ay paunti na yung bilang ng mga tao na pupunta dito. So far, so good according to them. Dito sa Tubod Central Elementary School ay mahigpit yung seguridad sa gate pa lamang ay chinecheck na ng mga pulis ang mga bag ng mga papasok na botante upang masiguro nga daw na walang maipapasok ng mga illegal na gamit na pwedeng mag-create ng kaguluhan dito sa loob ng paaralan. At kanina rin ay nakita natin maayos naman yung kondukta dito ng botohan sa lugar na ito. Ayon sa COMELEC, sa kabuuan ng Lanao del Norte ay ang report sa kanila alas 8 ng umaga ay open and functioning na ang lahat ng kanilang mga presinto sa buong probinsya. At sa ngayon, ayon sa mga otoridad ay wala naman daw naiulat na untoward incident simula alas 7 ng umaga hanggang ngayong tanghali. At kanina nga si PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde ay bumisita dito sa Lanao del Norte upang tingnan ang latag ng seguridad dito sa buong probinsya ngayong plebisito. At ayon sa kanya ay masaya naman siya sa latag ng seguridad dito at in fact ay matindi nilang binabantayan lamang yung mga lugar na maaaring magkaroon ng mga kaguluhan dito. Especially may nangyaring ang pagsabog kahapon dyan sa 3 bayan dito sa Lanao del Norte. Dyan sa Lala, sa Kauswagan at sa Sultan Naga Dimaporo. Pahigpitin daw nila yung mga checkpoints at mga seguridad sa mga paaralan para masigurong hindi na ito mauulit. Batay sa investigasyon ng mga pulis ay meron na daw silang mga persons of interest sa mga pagsabog na yan at maaari nga daw na isang grupo lamang ang may kagagawan nito. Kaya lang hindi nila dinisclose kung aling grupo ba ito dahil ongoing pa daw ang kanilang investigasyon. Ngayon, pinaliwanag din ni PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde na yung mga miyembro ng Moro Islamic Liberation Front ay maaaring mag-observe ng plebisito dito sa Lanao del Norte provided na wala silang armas at hindi sila nakausuot ng kanilang mga uniforme kasi pinagbabawal daw yan ng COMELEC. Ngayon, kung sino man, isang grupo man, yes or no yan, na mahuhuli na nang-intimidate o nang-threaten sa mga botante ay agad nilang huhulihin. Concern din ng mga botante dito, Pinky, ay yung aftermath nitong plebisito. Whatever the result is, sabi nila ay sana daw ay maayos ang magiging pangyayari. Pero siniguro ni PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde na yung mga pulis, mga sundalo, mahigit 3,000 yan, ay mananatili dito sa Lanao del Norte hanggang dumating yung araw na mag-normalize yung sitwasyon at kung sakali naman daw na magkaroon ng tensyon ay maaari pang humiling ng augmentation forces itong provincial police dito sa Lanao del Norte para siguruduhin na ligtas ang lahat, Pinky.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, George Cahiles, nag-uulat. Mahaba-haba ang balotang kailangan sagutin ng mga boboto sa plebisito sa Pikit sa North Cotabato. 23 tanong kasi ang kailangan nilang sagutin para malaman kung sasama ba sila o hindi sa bubuuing Bangsamoro region. Makibalita tayo sa aming correspondent na si Trisha Terada mula sa North Cotabato. Nasa bayan siya ngayon ng Midsayap. Trisha, matagal-tagal ang botohan ngayon. Ano ba nangyayari na?
Yes, Pinky, tama ka dyan. Medyo matagal-tagal nga yung botohan ngayon. At mula sa Pikit, sa bayan ng Pikit sa North Cotabato, ay tumungo tayo dito sa bayan ng Midsayap sa North Cotabato. At kapansin-pansin na matumal yung dating ng mga botante. Nagtanong tayo sa mga plebiscite committees at yan din niya yung isa sa kanilang mga napansin o sentimiento ngayon. Bandang alas 10 hanggang alas 11 ay hindi pa umaabot sa kalahati ang voter turnout sa maraming presinto. Inaasahan ng COMELEC na 70% ang voter turnout sa kabuuan ng plebiscite sites. Pero sa ngayon, magtatanghalian, halos wala pang kalahati yung bumuboto sa karamihan ng mga presinto dito sa Midsayap at na may average ng 200 to 300 registered voters kada voting precinct.
Takot din sila sa mga news. Panangyari sa kung mga bomba-bomba.
Yung mga news, yung related pa rin yung nasa Sulu. Baka yun ang isang dahilan na takot na sila lumabas.
4, 3, 2,
Isa pang dahilan na tinitignan nila ay ang posible raw na hindi alam ng mga tao yung halaga at gagawin sa pangalawang plebisito. Pero lahat ng nakausap o halos lahat sa mga nakausap natin na pabor sa pagsali sa kanilang lugar sa BARM, pareho ang inaasahan na sana tuluyan ng magkaroon ng kapayapaan at maayos na pamumuhay sa kanilang mga bayan. Bagaman mababa pa ang voter turnout, wala naman naitalang insidente ng karahasan dito sa Midsayap at maging sa iba pang parte ng North Cotabato sa mga oras na ito. Doon naman sa Pikit, kung saan tayo nanggaling kanina o bago tayo umalis, ay marami ang mga botante. Mamaya ibabalikan natin yung bayan ng Pikit para sa pinakahuling datos ng voter turnout. Pero pasado alas 6 pa lamang ng umaga, may mga botante nang dumating. Bahagyang mabagal lamang yung usa doon sa Pikit dahil nga 23 o 23 yung tanong na kailangan sagutin ng mga residente. Kabilang na dyan kung payag silang mapabilang sa BARM at kung payag silang makasali ang mga karatig barangay din sa BARM. Mahigit 1 square foot o mas malaki pa sa isang tile ang laki ng balota nila, pero kahit mukhang komplikado, hindi naman daw hirap ang mga botante. Pagsapit ng alas 3 mamayang hapon ay opisyal nang magsasara ang botohan. Pinky?
Nga yung sinasabi namin kanina, Trisha, mahaba-haba yung balota doon sa Pikit. Kasi dyan sa Midsayap, ang tanong 13. Doon sa Pikit, ang tanong 23. Depende kasi yan sa dami ng barangay, no, Trisha? Pero Trisha, kamusta ang seguridad dyan sa North Cotabato?
Alam mo, Pinky, pagpasok pa lamang namin ng Kidapawan, papunta dito sa Pikit, ay medyo mahigpit na yung seguridad talaga. Maraming checkpoint kang dadaanan at kumpara doon sa mga checkpoint na dadaanan namin nung nakaraang plebisito, ngayon talaga iniisa-isa nilang buksan yung sasakyan, tapos tinitignan din nila yung mga laman ng, kahit yung mga laman, binubuksan nila kung may kahon, may mga bag, tinitignan nila isa-isa, depende na lang sa checkpoint na madadaanan. At dito naman sa labas ng mga polling centers, meron ding perimeter security security na tinatawag. Yun nga, sila yung nagbabantay din sa mga pumapasok, lumalabas sa mga polling centers. Pero sa ngayon, Pinky, wala pa naman daw, sabi ng mga otoridad, na inaitatalang election-related violence sa mga oras na ito. Pinky?
Maraming salamat, Trisha Terada, nag-uulat. At yan ang kabuuan ng balitaan ngayong Miyerkules, February 6, 2019. Ako po si Pinky Webb. Hanggang bukas, magandang tanghali.
This is breaking news on CNN Philippines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. We're monitoring two very important stories at the moment. First, the Senate is expected to vote on the transfer of the Mindanao Islamic Telephone Company, or Mislatel's franchise, to consortium, which has been named as the country's third telco. Our Joyce Ilas will also join us from the Senate later on in the show. And the other big story, the second round of the Bangsamoro plebiscite, the plebiscite of the Bangsamoro organic law in several towns in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato. We have our correspondent, George Cahiles, who will report from Lanao del Norte, and Trisha Terada, who is now in North Cotabato. The precincts have closed in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato for the plebiscite in areas that will be included in the new Bangsamoro region. Over 600,000 voters expected to decide whether to include 6 towns in Lanao del Norte in the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM. These include the towns of Tangkal, Tagaloan, Munay, Pantar, Nunungan, and Baloi. The plebiscite also covers 67 barangays in 7 towns in North Cotabato. The first plebiscite was held January 21st, when Cotabato City, Isabela City in Basilan, and provinces under the existing Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARM, participated in the political exercise. The yes vote won in the first round of that plebiscite that ratified the BOL. Cotabato City, which is not part of the ARMM, also voted yes to become part of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Meantime, the no votes won in Isabela City in Basilan. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, says 100% of the precincts opened in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato. In an interview with The Source, COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez says the situation is better compared to the first plebiscite, when some precincts opened late. This comes despite the series of explosions in Lanao del Norte on the eve of the plebiscite.
Despite news yesterday that teachers were being threatened not to participate, everyone showed up, and people are showing up in the polling precincts. Early in the day, the earliest voters were women and senior citizens even. So the excitement is palpable, and maybe the tension, while it's there, is not dampening their enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Jimenez also explains the process of voting and how barangays or towns can join the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region.
That number 1 says, payag ba kayo na isamang barangay Damatulan, Midsayap, Damatulan, Midsayap, Hilagang, Cotabato sa rehiyong otonomo ng Bangsamoro? Pag ang isagot po nila is yes, where do they go after that?
They have to answer. They have to reply to all of the other questions.
Hanggang number 13.
You need a double majority.
Correct.
You need to have a majority of the votes in the unit that's wanting to join, the barangay, and from the mother unit, allowing that barangay to join. So if it's a yes and a yes, then you're in. If it's a yes and a no, or a no and a yes, then it doesn't happen.
Voting results are expected within 4 days. Our Trisha Terada joins us from North Cotabato. What can you tell us now, Trisha?
Well, Pia, as of this time, voting is officially closed, at least for Piquet Town in North Cotabato. Well, shortly before 3 p.m., at least for the Piquet Central Elementary School, voting precincts have already started counting the votes that were cast earlier in the day. You know, unlike the first plebiscite, it's quite glaring, and it's also quite noticeable how there aren't as much people or as many people flocking to the polling precincts. But then again, it's not that so surprising, because COMELEC, as as Comelec already said, they're not really expecting as many people as the first plebiscite. They're only expecting a 70% voter turnout, considering that there are some elements lacking in the second plebiscite. It's not as emotional anymore or as polarizing as the first plebiscite, where residents would have to decide on the fate of the Bangsamoro. Right now, it's just really all about the inclusions. In Midsayap, for example, it's quite glaring how at around 10 a.m. or to 11 in the morning, the different polling precincts haven't reached a 50% voter turnout yet. And for the plebiscite committee members or teachers cite various possible reasons for that.
Takot din sila sa mga news. Nangyari sa kung mga bomba-bomba.
Yung mga news, yung related pa rin yung nasa Sulu. Baka yun ang isang dahilan na takot na sila lumabas.
We'll over here at the Piquet Central Elementary School. We had a quick run or check of the different polling precincts, and we found out that even here, there's just a little less than 50% to 50% voter turnout for every polling precinct. And it's quite notable that every precinct has about an average of 200 to 400 voters, and they only reached about 100 to 150 voters per precinct. Pia?
Trisha Terada there reporting. We're going to get back to you in just a bit. In the meantime, our George Cahila is joining us from Lanao del Norte. George, what is happening there right now?
Hopi, a few minutes after plebiscite committees officially closed their respective precincts, they are now gearing up to count the votes here in Lanao del Norte. Here at the Maranding Central Elementary School, teachers are telling us that more than 50% of their registered voters here casted their votes, and in some precincts it's even as high as around 80%. So it only means, Pia, that despite the explosion near the school yesterday, voters and residents still went out to cast their votes. Now, but their concern is post-plebiscite, because some residents here fear that atrocities might happen if a party will be disgruntled due to the result of the plebiscite, and they hope security officials will continue securing their town after the polls. And here's what they say.
Why di sana manatili sila, no, even after the plebiscite, and then we are also confident that may mga, even our governor also, no, i-secure naman nila kami.
Then pagsabog kahapon, para bang nagalit talaga ako. Yun bang para pananakot ba? Itong lugar ito sa amin, yung lugar na ito. No, bakit kailangan pang takot-takutin? So ganyan ba? So that's why I vote.
Well, Pia, despite the aside from the three explosions yesterday here in the province, and the Comelec is telling us that there's no reported any untoward incident since the distribution of plebiscite materials early today until the closure or the formal closure of the plebiscite here in the area. Pia.
Yeah, George, a while ago you said that in a few moments they're gearing up to begin the counting of the votes. Can you let us know when that's going to happen so that we can go live to any of the precincts? We're going to, of course, naturally, you're going to be choosing that precinct at random, just so that we can get a feel of how people there are voting.
Well, yes, Pia, actually here just beside me is a precinct, and they have already opened their ballot box, and they are now consolidating the ballots that were casted today. And we're just thinking that any moment from now, they will be starting counting the votes, and we will see later if whatever the result will happen here in Lala Town in Lanao del Norte, Pia.
George, can we get a glimpse of that? Can you ask your cameraman to pan the camera to the right, just so we can see, then zoom into what's happening inside, para makita natin.
Okay, Pia, we will pan our camera over there. Chris, if you could pan your camera so the people may see what's happening here inside the polling center here in Lanao del Norte. As you can see, the plebiscite committee is now consolidating and counting the number of ballots right now. They're arranging it so they can easily count it one by one later. So they're counting the number of ballots if it will match the number of actual voters that casted their votes today. So they're... Yeah.
Yes, George. Well, we're going to get back to you in just a bit so that we can catch this live, no? As they, in that particular precinct, as they're counting the votes, whether it's a yes or no, at least for that precinct in the, did I get it right? Maranding Central Elementary School. George Cahilas there reporting live. We're going to get back to you in just a bit. We're also going to do the same with Trisha Terada. She's going to choose a precinct at random there in the school where she is at the Bikit Central Elementary School in North Cotabato so that we can get that live on CNN Philippines. In the meantime, authorities investigating the 3 separate explosions in Lanao del Norte. George Cahilas just mentioned that just a while ago. That happened, those 3 explosions happening on the eve of the second round of the Bangsamoro plebiscite. The first blast occurred in Lala town at 4:35 p.m. yesterday along the National Highway. The second explosion happened near the Municipal Hall of Kauswagan town at 4:50 in the afternoon. And the third blast was within the premises of the MSU Municipal High School in Sultan Naga Dimaporo town at 10 in the evening. Authorities say there were no reported casualties or damage in the explosions. Well, Lanao del Norte Governor Imelda Anguing Dimaporo telling CNN Philippines she is convinced the MILF, the More Islamic Liberation Front, was behind the bombings. Dimaporo is against the inclusion of 6 towns in her province in the new Bangsamoro, or the proposed Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, and she's been campaigning for a no vote.
It's just parang pangtakot lang talaga so the people will not go out because they know that in those municipalities, no will win.
So when you say sila or they, who are you referring to?
The MILF.
MILF under?
Under Commander Bravo.
Meron kaming a portion of George Cahilas' report where he used the what we call the soundbite, no, a portion of this the statement of Commander Bravo, and he said, and I quote and repeat, "Huwag nyo kaming bigyan ng dahilan ipagpatuloy ang paghawak ng armas at magtanim ng galit sa inyo. Ayaw namin ng gulo ang pagboto nyo ng yes ay nangangalhugan na gusto ninyo ng kapayapaan." What does this mean to you?
That's the problem there kasi gusto nila ng kapayapaan. Kami naman mapayapa kami dito sa Lanao del Norte. We are a peaceful province and we are progressive. So sa ganyan na pinapakita nila na video, it's intimidating, it's a threat. I'm sorry to say this. But wala akong kami makita na good governance in ARMM.
Meantime, the More Islamic Liberation Front strongly denying involvement in those 3 explosions or blasts in Lanao del Norte. Speaking to CNN Philippines, MILF Chairman Alhaj Murad Ibrahim weighing in on who may be behind the attack.
Hindi katanggap-tanggap na ibibintang sa amin kagad without any proof na kasi we have been campaigning very hard na walang magdidisturbo sa plebisito dahil alam namin na kailangan bumoto yung mga tao. Now, if there are disturbances na mga ganon, that will discourage voters to go into the voting places. So, ang magiging biktima nito ay yung plebisito. Posible ito na it is a sabotage against the plebiscite. And ang mga siguro, yung mga very close na magsasabotage ay yung mga taong hindi nakakaayon, hindi umaayon sa plebisito.
Well, join us now here in the studio, Armed Forces spokesman Brigadier General Edgar Arevalo. Good afternoon, General Arevalo. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, Pia. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, let's begin with that. No, the MILF denying any involvement. Anguing Governor Dimaporo of Lanao Norte claiming that it was the MI under Commander Bravo that was behind the explosions. So how does the Armed Forces look at this?
Well, on the part of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, it's one of the instances wherein our Chief of Staff, General Benjamin Madigal Jr., would like to appeal to the people to remain calm, to be sober on incidents like this, because until and unless we have a clear evidence as to the perpetrators, then we should not rush into any conclusion as to who did it. But we are, together with the PNP, are also interested in finding this out, and appropriate sanctions should be meted on this person.
But can you already eliminate from the list of possible suspects the MILF under Commander Bravo? Can you already say that at this point?
We cannot at this point discount that possibility, because investigations are still ongoing. There is going to be necessarily a post-blast investigation for us to determine the so-called signature, and from there we'll be having some traces or leads as to who could probably be behind these busts.
And of course, when you say signature, you're talking about the kind of explosions.
Kind of explosives, the way it was packed, the way it was detonated, things like that, which are within the competency of our EODs.
Okay, and that's going to take what, a few days, or within the day we're going to have an idea already?
I don't have any idea as to how long it will take, but I'm sure that we're going to do this with dispatch.
Of course, it's interesting that, like the AFP had announced yesterday and the PNP, that there were no casualties, no damage.
I think
so. In other words, para ba ang dating nito is parang panakot lang?
Exactly. That's how we see it, and I think most of us, or most of the authorities that have been interviewed, who would like to take it objectively, is that they would like to look at it as a mere statement of sorts to discourage those who are supposed to cast their votes to do so, because they were detonated at an area where there are least possibility or less possibility of those who will be harmed, or objects that may be damaged.
Dissuade people from casting their votes. Dissuade people from casting the yes vote or the no vote, or we're not sure. We have no.
We're not sure until we determine who are the perpetrators.
However, even if we say na mukhang panakot lang ito because there were no major casualties, no injuries, no fatalities, no real damage, it doesn't erase the fact that we shouldn't be complacent. Hindi naman dapat tayo nasasanay din na oo sa Lanao Norte, sa North Cotabato or Lanao Norte or anywhere in Mindanao na once in a while you're going to have IEDs going off here and there.
Wala namang nasaktan.
When do we get to that point in the country's history na hindi na tayo sanay sa ganon? Hindi na dapat tayo masanay sa ganon?
Well, for one, kailangang may implant natin sa isipan ng ating mga kababayan that these are abnormal incidents, that we are not allowed this to happen. Definitely, whether it is intended to really harm people or just to discourage people from voting, this by and large is a sort of terrorism in itself. So we should not allow terrorism to thrive in our communities.
Okay. A while ago, we showed the portion of that interview with the New Day of MILF Chairman Alhaj Murad. And, well, in essence, he was denying the involvement of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. So what does that, how does that statement impact on the investigation?
Well, it's necessarily coming from someone who is within the MILF, so we understand that. But as you were saying, we have to be objective in this investigation, as our members in the PNP and the AFP are doing, and we are just going to proceed with the investigation.
Well, it didn't really help either when, as yesterday, we showed the statement or the announcement made by Commander Bravo, where he was saying that dapat yes ang vote ninyo or else, may warning, hindi ba? How does that, how does that impact on the AFP? What do soldiers, what do military officers think of something like that?
Well, on the part of the AFP, we always would like to establish that ours is a governance of laws and not of men. We always encourage our people to go out and vote, and we make them and we assure them that your armed forces of the Philippines is there to protect their votes and to secure them as they go to their polling precincts.
Secure them as they go to their polling precincts. And right now what's about to happen is that the counting is about to begin in the many different precincts. As of now, 3:20 in the afternoon, no reports of any untoward incidents in any of the plebiscite areas.
Yeah, I have spoken to Colonel Alex Aduca. He's the commander of Task Force Plebiscito, and he told me that as at 2:40 this morning, all polling precincts have opened, and as at around 10:30 in the morning today, 50% of the voters have already cast their votes, and he expressed confidence that if this is going to be the trend, then most likely 100%, if they're all coming, will be able to vote even before 3 p.m.
Yeah. Interesting that Colonel Aduca told you that all precincts open because in the first round, on January 21st, there were some precincts that had problems, like nag-open na siya at 10:30, 11 in the morning, and some of them, because some of the teachers who were members of the plebiscite committees didn't show up, right? But now, ang report ng AFP from troops on the ground is that all precincts open on time.
Yep, that's right, at 8:40. So it seems like either we succeeded in informing our people and assuring them of their safety, as well as the plebiscite board. And probably we also, and well, surely we always and continue to evaluate how we fare in every activity. So in the last plebiscite, we have looked into how we fared and how we could improve on the things that we have done that part, so that we'll be improving this time.
Can you tell us what intel information you have at the moment, no, in terms of how people are reacting to the plebiscite, to the expected, whatever is the result that's going to come out? What are the movements on the ground? Are there movements of big groups of people in any of the plebiscite areas or anywhere in Mindanao?
Well, wala naman tayong namomonitor na ganun, Pia, no? Except yung napabalita na, wherein some members of the MILF were monitored to have gone to the towns and seemingly campaigning of sorts for the yes vote, understandably, but by and large they were unarmed. They were not wearing their uniform, and they abide by the agreement that they had with government that they should not in any way meddle directly into the casting of votes during the plebiscite. And with regard to the people there, of course, depending upon who people are we talking about, some are very excited to know what the final outcome will be with regard to the proposed BIRMM, and then some of those who does not want to be included in the BIRMM were also apprehensive as to what the turnout will be.
Sulu, of course, not part of the second round of plebiscite, but of course there's been a lot of action lately. Several arrests have been made of what the PNP, the AFP are saying is the main suspect in the bombing of the Jolo Cathedral. But what information do you have on Jolo at the moment?
Well, for now, we can say that somehow the situation has stabilized. As a matter of fact, another mass services were held last Sunday. Well, understandably, there were less parishioners who came in, but the point is, situation has gone back to normal, and we are to observe more strict measures with regard to security. There were some complaints about church authorities asking the parishioners not to bring backpacks, knapsacks, and big bags during masses, and these are understandable, and this has to be, there must be really some adjustments with the way we do things, and we should understand that we appeal to the people that they should cooperate as we take these particular measures in order to secure everybody, especially in these times that everybody seems to be very apprehensive after the twin blasts in Jolo town.
All right. Well, a while ago, I was asking you moments ago about Sulu, which was part of the first round plebiscite. I wanted to ask also about the other provinces that were part of the first round, Tawi-Tawi, Basilan, Lanao Sur, Maguindanao. What's going on there? What are the reports from the field?
Well, reports in the field says there are no untoward incident happening so far, and we hope that this will continue. Whatever happens, your soldiers are always there to ensure that our communities will be safe. And still, our appeal goes to our people for us to be proactively involved in terms of security, because, as we always say, security is everybody's concern, not just of the AFP and the Philippine National Police.
All right. Final words, General Arevalo, unless you're prepared to stay with us for the next 2 hours.
Well, Pia, would like to thank you for this opportunity. We'd just like to inform and assure our people that your armed force, the Philippines, under the leadership of General Benjamin Madrigal Jr., is there to ensure that our communities are safe. Undeniably, despite all the preparations that we do and all the security procedures that we observe na ipakikita lamang dito, nangyari pa rin yung nangyari sa Hulo. So we say that indeed before a determined terrorist and criminal, no, there is no barrier that is not penetrable. So this goes to show that there's a need for us to indeed bind as a nation, bind as a Filipino nation, for us to fight terrorism, for us to cooperate and do our share and cooperate with the authorities with regard to the policies and practices they would like to offer, especially on bringing of water bottles, for instance, in the MRT station, the checkpoints that we had to do, the prescription of bringing bags and knapsacks in church services. All these are measures for us to feel secured and safe, and only in cooperating with one another and with your security authorities can we achieve a good security posture. And as a final word, we say na ang ating panlaban sa terorismo ay ang pagkakaisa nating mga Pilipino.
And to report what you see, right? Anything that they see. And well, it's good you mentioned the water bottles, no?
Right.
Plastic water bottle. Paano kung ano, bamboo water containers, mga...
Well, necessarily, kailangan natin,
Kahit ano, no?
hindi natin pwedeng ibigay ang lahat ng specific details on everything we do kasi sunod ng tanong dyan, paano yung mga pabango, di ba, yung more than 100 ml. All these things probably would be too cumbersome to enumerate. But the point is, let us cooperate with our security authorities because, after all, what is in their heads are for the security of everyone, and security is everybody's concern.
General Edgar Arevalo is I'm about to say thank you to you, but I'm just waiting for the producers to tell me if we're going to hold you hostage here in the studio for the next 2 hours. Yes, we are. Oh, until 4. Oh, you'll stay with us until 4 o'clock. That's just about 30 minutes from now. So, General Arevalo, thank you very much. And, well, stand by ka lang. Huwag kang umalis dyan. Salamat, sir. We'll pause for a short break. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines Breaking News. Welcome back to CNN Philippines Breaking News. The Senate is expected to vote on the transfer of the Mindanao Islamic Telephone Company, or Mislatel's franchise, to consortium, which has been named as the country's third telco. Let's go to Joyce Ilas, who is on the Senate, who is in the plenary hall of the Senate. She's monitoring what's going on there. Joyce, are the senators ready to vote on Mislatel's franchise?
That's right, Pia. We expect any time now for senators to debate and vote on the Senate resolution, which seeks to transfer the controlling interest of Mislatel's franchise to the consortium, which was recently named as the Provisional Third Telco. The consortium is composed of Mislatel, Odena Corporation, and Chelsea Logistics Holding Corporation, which are owned by Davao City-based businessman Dennis Uy and state-owned China Telecom. The franchise is a requirement for the consortium to be finally awarded with the frequency needed to operate as the third telco in the country. Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon earlier questioned the validity of Mislatel's franchise. He says Mislatel's franchise is already deemed revoked after it failed to comply with the provisions of its franchise. Information and Communication Technology Acting Secretary Eliseo Rio earlier said that if the Senate does not approve of the transfer of Mislatel's franchise to the consortium, they would be back to square one. Senate Public Services Committee Chairman Grace Poe said that she sponsored the measure because of the public's urgent clamor to have a new player that promises better telco services in the country. Now, Poe said that even if the Senate gives a green light for Mislatel to operate, interested parties can still avail of legal remedies in court. Now, the senator said that should the consortium fail to deliver on its commitments on its first year of operation, the consortium risks losing 25 billion pesos in performance bonds, which it submitted to the government when it joined the bid. Yeah.
All right, Joyce, we're going to get back to you in just a bit. In the meantime, we're going to put up on our screens live live footage of what's going on at the Senate Session Hall. We're waiting for that, of course. The Senate plenary, though, has to tackle many other concerns. We're not sure, like you were saying, exactly what time this is going to happen. At the same time, we have live pictures of what's going on in one of those precincts in the school where George Cahiles is, the Maranding Central Elementary School in Lanao Norte. Let's go. Can we go to that first? Let's bring up the sound so that we can hear what the votes are like.
Third reading.
I made this manifestation last week, but we withdrew it. But with the approval now of the minority floor leader on this measure, we are in receipt of the communication from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on January 28, 2019, the House approved the third reading House Bill number 8741, otherwise known as the Farmers and Fisherfolk Enterprise Development Program of the Department of Agriculture. It's actually the counterpart of Senate Bill number 1281, or the Sagip-Saka Bill, which this chamber approved on third reading last May of 2017. With the permission of the chair of the Committee on Agriculture and Food, and with the consent of the body, I move that we adopt.
All right, we're going to go from the Senate. They're not yet talking about the Misatel franchise. Let's go to the Maranding Central Elementary School in Lanao Norte. That precinct is where they've started to count the votes of the plebiscite on the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Let's listen in.
Balui, no. Kahon. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Kahon. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Kahon. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Balui, no. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no. Walay balui. Munay, no. Nulungan, no. Pantar, no. Taguluan, no. Tangkal, no.
Right, so far, just a few ballots, a litany of no's so far in this one precinct, again chosen at random in the Maranding Central Elementary School in Lala Town in Lanao del Norte. Let's go over to the school where our Trisha Terada is in North Cotabato, the Pikit Central Elementary School, where they're also now counting the votes. Let's listen in.
Palatikan, no. Balong, yes. Balongis, yes. Barungis, yes. Batulawan, yes. Buwalan, yes. Bulyok, yes. Bulol, yes. Port Pikit, no. Gligli, yes. Bukutan, yes. Kabasalan, yes. Lagundi, yes. Makabual, yes. Makasindig, yes. Manaulanan, yes. Nabundas, yes. Nalapaan, yes.
Nunguan, yes. Pamalian, yes. Panikupan, no. No, Raja Muda, yes. Next. Irog double to sir, right? Okay, next. Bagoingid, oo. Balatikan, oo. Balong, oo. Magsabi ka rin, Max. Balongis, oo. Barungis, oo. Batulawan, oo. Buwalan, oo. Bulyok, oo. Bulol, oo. Port Pikit, oo. Gligli, oo. Kukutan, oo. Kabasalan, oo. So to, Bax, Kabasalan. Lagondi, oo. Makabual, oo. Makasindig, oo. Manaulanan, oo. Nabundas, oo. Nalapaan, oo. Bax ka na? Lapa, lapa. Lapa. Four pa. Para magkuhan ba? Masig.
Coincide sila.
4 lang. Oo. Kaya 4 man dalawa, oh. Okay na yung nalapan? Nunguan, oo. Pamalian, oo. Panikupan, wala. Raja Muda, oo.
Next. No, tanan.
Next balot.
No.
No.
No. Yung ka sa no. 23. Susa by barangay to 23.
Bagoingid, no. Balatikan, no. Balong, no. Balongis, no. Barungis, no. Batulawan, no. Walan, no. Bulyok, no. Bulol, no. Port Pikit, no. Gligli, no. Pukutan, no. Kabasalan, no. Lagundi, no. Makabual, no. Makasindig, no. Manaulanan, no. Nabundas, no. Nalapaan, no. Nunguan, no. Pamalian, no. Panikupan, no. Raja Muda, no.
Ma'am?
Disruptive kayo. Tanang lang po. Tanang mo yun ang video.
Bawal ang video.
Kadang-kadang kau dapat ke Bekanga.
Tingnan lang.
Masa lo ni, kau nang sana ambil fokus ke Bekanga.
Okay, next, balot. Bagoingid, yes. Balatikan, yes. Balong, yes. Balongis, yes. Barungis, yes. Batulawan, yes. Buwalan, yes. Bulyok, yes. Bulol, yes. No. Say. Fort Pickett, no. Gligli, no. Gukutan, yes. Kabasalan, yes. Lagundi, yes. Makabual, yes. Makasindig, yes. Manaulanan, yes. Nabundas, yes. Nalapaan, no. Nunguan, yes. Pamalian, yes. Panikupan, no. Rajamuda, yes. Next. Baguingid, yes. Balatikan, yes. Balong, yes. Balungis, yes. Barungis, yes. Batulawan, yes. Buwalan, yes. Bulyok, yes. Bulol, yes. Fort Pickett, no. Gligli, no. Gukutan, yes. Kabasalan, yes. Lagundi, yes. Makabual, yes. Makasindig, yes. Manaulanan, yes. Nabundas, yes. Nalapaan, no. Nunguan, yes. Pamalian, yes. Panikupan, no. Rajamuda, yes. Next, balot. Baguingid, balatikan, balong, wala.
Baguingid, balatikan, wala. Nabotol.
Balong, wala siya.
Baguingid, balatikan, balong, wala. Balungis, yes. Barungis, wala. Wala. Batulawan, yes. Buwalan, yes. Bulyok, wala. Wala, bulyok. Bulol, yes. Fort Pickett, no. Gligli, no. Gukutan, yes. Kabasalan, Lagundi, wala. Makabual, Makasindig, Manaulanan, wala. Okay? Wala na, okay na? Okay, Nabundas, yes. Nalapaan, no. Nunguan, Pamalian, Panikupan, Rajamuda, wala. Next, balot. Baguingid, yes. Balatikan, yes. Balong, yes. Balungis, yes. Barungis, no. Batulawan, yes. Buwalan, yes. Bulyok, yes. Bulol, yes. Fort Pickett, no. Gligli, no. Gukutan, yes. Kabasalan, no. Lagundi, no. Makabual, yes. Makasindig, yes. Manaulanan, yes. Nabundas, yes. Nalapaan, no. Nungwan, yes. Pamalian, yes. Panikupan, no. Raja Muda, yes. Next, balot. Baguingid, yes. Balatikan, yes. Balong, no. Balungis, no. Barungis, no. Batulawan, no.
No. Nulungan. No. Pantar. No. Taguluan. No. Tangkal. No. Kahon. Balui. No. Munay. No. Nulungan. No. Pantar. No. Taguluan. No. Tangkal. No. Balui. No. Munay. No. Nulungan. No. Pantar. No. Taguluan. No. Tangkal. No. Balui. No. Munay. No. Nulungan. No. Pantar. No. Taguluan. No. Tangkal. No. Balui. No. Munay. No. Nulungan. No. Pantar. No. Taguluan. No. Tangkal. No. Balui. No. Munay. No. Nulungan. No. Pantar. No. Taguluan. No. Tangkal. No. Kahon. Okay, decide. Yung nabulag. Sige lang.
Bila, basta karga lang sa update niya sa yes. Ya, sang naman kaya pre total na po. Total nga mura. May kaso.
Kani, on man siya. Dili
ni Sir Abdul, ma'am, basta orong content.
Wala na siya. Kung ano. So, bilang ang ano to? Ha? Duha. Ang isa blank pumunto. Isa kay ano. So, first 100. Count the deer. Bila.
Then duha ang ato ang pato.
Duha ang walay.
Oo. Right.
Marag 98 record siya, sir. Okay. Ang isa, walay it siya go. Sa balo 80, ang yes, isa rin no. One your.
Utang tag figure 1 na sir kay.
Dayon. Ay, wala na to na no? Oo.
Formahan na itong spirit lang ha. Kayo pang musuro dahil itong dulo.
Oo. Dila din. Oo. One sa yes. One. Unya pa. Unya na ang total vote. Unya na ang words. One lang. Then in circle. In circle. Palihog, ma'am.
Kini ma'am, diri na sa next nga kahon.
Number 2, 96, 97.
Di po sa dato siguro niyo po. Kahon sa diri, una pa sa kabudagan.
Sir, every 100 man magkuhan. Total, firma. Ano man.
Kakala total?
Dire, sunod na kahon.
Ha? Dili dito sa
Hindi ka mo total siguro. Ano may total votes?
Dili pa, sir. Kuhaan pa na siya, sir.
Di ba?
Kuhaan. Dala sa kilid, sir.
Ayaw kayo.
No, ang figure man siya. Inward man na tatuhan. Isuwa ka ng figure. Figure, inward man siya. Hindi, ang figure mo tatagtuhan.
Dili pa. Unya na sa kuhaan na gito, sir. Kasi final na gito siya.
Gusto mo sa gudron ma'am nga, total na siya karon. Pero probably ko sabi.
Ang final na dito na kuan sir, ana. Dire na sa muslat.
Dali ka, sir. Dali ka, dear. Dali ka, 96. Dili, ayaw dire ka. Magamit pa man kasunod.
Right, what we're showing you are live pictures on the left from Piquet in North Cotabato. This is, like we said, just one precinct in the Piquet Central Elementary School in North Cotabato, where they've begun counting the votes. And on your right, the bigger screen, one precinct, precinct 81A and 82A in the Maranding Central Elementary School in Llano del Norte. They've started to count the votes there. We are expecting a summary of those votes so that we know which vote, whether it was the yes or no vote that won in that one precinct in that school in Lala in Llano Norte, and that one precinct in that school in Piquet, North Cotabato. But we need to wrap up. At the same time, we're also keeping tabs on what is happening on the Senate floor, where the Senate is expected to vote on the transfer of the franchise of Mindanao Islamic Telephone Company, or Misitel's franchise, to consortium, which has been named as the country's third telco. But we're going to get some brief final words from our guest in the studio, AFP spokesman General Arevalo, sir.
Well, thank you very much once more, Pia, for this opportunity. I'd just like to pass the commendations and greetings ng ating AP Chief of Staff, si General Benjamin Madrigal Jr., sa ating mga commanders on the ground, at ganoon din po sa ating soldiers, sailors, marines, and airmen na tumutulong sa plebisito at tumulong sa naging plebisito. So far ay naging matagumpay. Salamat sa inyong katapatan, and we would like to tell our people, Pia, ang ating pong pakiusap ay sana po makipagtulungan kayo. Lagi naming hiling sa inyo. Kung ano po ang mga nakikita ninyong kakaiba sa inyong mga lugar na hindi dapat ninyo nakikita, mga tao na kahina-hina lang kinikilos, mga bagahe o pakete na unattended, please inform your security forces. Huwag na po tayo magpakalat ng mga chismis, mga
Huwag
banta.
mag-forward, kasi maraming umiikot, sa
Opo, yung sa mga mall na sinasabing bobombahin, mga ganito, huwag na po tayo magpakalat niyan. If we have received any information that you deem to be validated, ipasa po natin sa inyong government security forces, sapagkat tayo po ang may kakayahan na mag-validate at mag-confirm yan, at para po makagawa tayo ng appropriate actions at hindi na po tayo makadagdag pa sa saloobin, alalahanin at pagkabahala ng ating mga kababayan. Salamat, Pia.
Yeah, very much. Good thing you brought that up. And General Arevalo, of course, syempre hindi pa naman talaga tapos ang trabaho ng sundalo, ng police, ng COMELEC, yung mga plebiscite committees na yan, dahil nagbibilangan pa. And there will be the canvassing. So we'll see what happens. Pero thank you for being with us today, General Edgar Arevalo of the Armed Forces. That wraps up our special coverage of the Bangsamoro plebiscite in Llano del Sur and North Cotabato. And we are also, of course, awaiting the results from there and the results of what's happening on the Senate floor when it comes to the Mistel franchise. Mistel, of course, slated to be the country's third telco. We'll give you more updates on Newsnight at 6 p.m. I'll see you then. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Thank you for watching.
Election officials counting votes for the second Bangsamoro plebiscite. Hundreds of thousands voted on whether 7 towns in North Cotabato and 6 towns in Llano del Norte will be included in the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. In Llano del Norte, officials there say the plebiscite has been smooth despite bombings yesterday. They also expect at least 70% voter turnout. Our George Cahiles has more.
Authorities say explosions in Llano del Norte on Tuesday was just meant to sow fear among voters. But in Barangay Maranding, Lala Town, despite the blast several meters away from the school, voters still chose to cast their ballots.
Then pagsabog kahapon, para bang nagalit talaga ako. Yun bang para pananakot ba? Itong lugar ito sa amin, yung lugar na ito. No, bakit kailangan pang takot-takutin? So ganyan ba? So that's why I vote.
PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde himself checked the security in place after the explosions in 3 towns on Tuesday. No one was hurt in the 3 separate incidents. So far, police say there are already persons of interest in the bombings, and they also think a group is behind them.
We strengthen our checkpoints. No? Kung talagang gustong lumusot, talagang lulusot eh. Kasi napakalawak yan. Remember, the checkpoints are only established along the roads.
While most residents are confident of a peaceful conduct of the plebiscite, they fear that atrocities might happen after the polls.
Kung pwede sana, manatili sila, no? Even after the plebiscite. But then, we are also confident that may mga, even our governor also, no? I-secure naman nila kami.
If the commander on the ground, especially so the PD, will see na hindi pa medyo tense ang they can always request for additional forces.
Meanwhile, the military believes the Moro Islamic Liberation Front will abide by what they have agreed on. Despite the latest video of Commander Bravo instructing his men to go down from the mountains, they will just stay in agreed areas far from the town centers. Congressman Abdullah Dimaporo is confident residents will not allow the division of Lanao del Norte.
Pero yung nakita natin na movement nila is just a movement from their staging area. Mayroon din kasi tinatawag sila na staging area. At we have agreed na hanggang doon lang muna sila. Unless otherwise, mayroon tayong mga coordination na gagawin.
Ako po, hindi ako naniniwala at walang maniniwala na matatalo rito ang no. Kung manalo man ang yes dito, ang gagawin po katulad na nangyari sa Cotabato City na binilang yung yes plus the no, ang lumabas po ay mas marami yung grand total kaysa sa dami ng registered voters. Sana po hindi mangyayari iyan po sa amin.
The MLF meanwhile promised that they will respect whatever will be the result of the plebiscite in the province, provided the exercise is carried out fair and square. From Lanao del Norte, George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Thank you for your comments. That's the newsroom tonight. I'm Ruth Cabat. Good evening.